Hello, how's it going, everyone? My name is Sharif Amul, and I'm going to be teaching you today how to shoot a basketball. I am currently a senior and a captain of the Rollins College men's basketball team. I am majoring in communications with a concentration in public relations. That's just a little bit about me before we get started. Today, what I'm going to do is teach you the 4 simple steps. It's also known as BEEF. It's an acronym, and BEEF stands for balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through. And I'm going to go through each part of BEEF in detail. So let's get started. Balance. So the first thing you want to do, one very important thing about shooting is having a good balance. You want to keep your feet shoulder width apart and pointed towards the basket. The reason that they want to be pointed towards the basket is because you don't want the ball to, because the ball is going to go where your feet are pointed. If they're pointed to the right, the ball is going to go to the right. You want to have a slight bend in your knees. We like to call this an athletic stance. If you're standing straight up, you are not as balanced as you would be if you were kneeling down or in an athletic stance. You want to make sure that not only your feet are square to the basket, but that your entire body is square to your basket. Your shoulders, your knees, your toes, your feet, everything. It should all be facing the same direction because you want the ball to go where your body's facing, and that should be towards the basket. Eyes. So eyes are very important when shooting the basketball. You always want to make sure to keep your eyes on the target. And for me, I look at these little loopholes on the rim every time I shoot. Now, some people look towards the back of the rim. Some people look towards the front of the rim. It really doesn't matter where you look when you shoot. I would suggest those 3 spots, but you want to make sure that it's consistent, meaning that you are looking at the same spot every time. If that's the back of the rim, you look at the back of the rim every time. You want to be consistent everywhere you're looking. Make sure your eyes are always on the target. Elbow. So after you have your balance and after you have your eyes on the target, your elbow should be about 90-degree angle, making an L-shaped form. If you're a righty, this is how the ball should look, and this is how your elbow should look. Vice versa, if you're a lefty, your left elbow should be at a 90-degree angle. As you can see, this is Ray Allen. If you don't know him, he's one of the greatest shooters to ever play the game of basketball. When you get that right elbow up and facing the basket, of course, you want to make sure that your right hand is under the ball. Your hands are spread out apart normally, and the ball is on your fingertips. The reason that we keep the ball on your fingertips is because you have better control versus if you had the ball on the palm of your hand. Now, your left hand, you're not technically supposed to use it. Some people use their thumb to kind of push the ball. Your left hand is supposed to act as a guide hand, and it's just supposed to be right on the side of the ball, just guiding the ball, because it's obviously difficult to bring the ball and shoot it all with one hand, so you want that left hand to be there for better control. And lastly, one of the most important aspects of shooting the ball is follow through. This is when you bring it all together. You start with your balance. You're in an athletic stance. Your eyes are on the target. You got your elbow up. Now it's time to jump up and extend your entire body. And if you can see, this is Kobe Bryant. His entire body is straight and extended. He's on his toes. And if you can see his right arm, we're going to first talk about his wrist. He flicks his wrist towards the basket. And I want you to imagine you're a little kid and there's a cookie jar at the top of the refrigerator, and you have to extend your arm all the way up, flick your wrist down, and reach in the cookie jar to get the cookies. That's how I've always been taught, and that's how I'm going to teach you today. Is when you flick that wrist, think of reaching your hand into the cookie jar. And the next thing is dead chicken. That elbow is straight as can be, just like a dead chicken's neck would be. And you want it to fully extend. Everything is fully extended. If you look in this bottom right hand corner, Kobe Bryant is fully extended from head to toe, and you want to make sure that when you are flicking that wrist and pointing that elbow, that it's all facing towards the basket. When you release the ball, it should touch your index and your ring finger. Those are the last 2 fingers that it should touch. Actually, forgive me, I'm sorry, it's index and middle finger. And when you release that ball, it should have a nice spiral as it glides towards the basket. And you hold that follow through. You technically want to hold the follow through until the ball goes in, or until it at least hits the rim. So you want to keep this position until one of those 2 things happen. Congratulations, you've learned how to shoot a basketball the correct way. I wish you luck on your future endeavors and playing the great game of basketball. And always remember, beef